It was a perfectly normal morning. The kind of morning where the sun filters just right through the leaves, birds are chirping, and the world feels peaceful. Elara stepped out of her apartment, headphones in, ready to catch the school bus. Everything was exactly as it should be, until it wasn't. She slowed her pace, her eyes narrowing. Across the parking lot, something moved. A blur, too fast, too strange to be normal. A flicker of motion that her brain couldn't quite register. She scanned the area, an uneasy feeling creeping up her spine. But there was nothing, just empty space. She took a breath, trying to shake it off, telling herself it was just her imagination. She took one more step forward, and that's when her world went dark. A hand clamped over her mouth from behind, a cloth pressed against her face. She fought, she kicked, she tried to scream, but the sound died in her throat. Her vision blurred, the world spun, and then nothing. A car door slammed shut, the engine roared to life, and the vehicle sped away, leaving the quiet morning behind. Meanwhile, at school, life was moving on as usual. Students laughed, teachers walked the halls. But for two people, the world had already stopped. Lucian stood by his locker, checking his phone for the 10th time. No message, no call. Across the hallway, Rowan sat alone, doing the exact same thing. No reply. They didn't speak, didn't even look at each other, but an invisible string of worry connected them. They were both waiting for Elara. First period came and went, then the second. By lunchtime, the quiet worry had turned into a loud, screaming anxiety. Lucian slammed his locker shut and stormed over to Tanya, Elara's roommate. "Where is she?" he demanded, his voice tight. Tanya looked just as worried. "I don't know," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I thought she came to school. She left this morning, but her phone is off, and she's not at the apartment." Lucian's face hardened, a flash of fear in his eyes. "You should have told me earlier," he snapped. "I tried," Tanya defended. "You weren't answering your phone." From a short distance away, Rowan heard every word. His expression shifted, his jaw tightening. For a brief moment, his eyes met Lucian's. No words were exchanged, but they didn't need any. In that silent glance, a shared understanding passed between them. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. Elara's eyes fluttered open to darkness and the smell of dust and decay. Her head throbbed and her wrists were bound tight. Panic began to bubble in her chest as she took in her surroundings. An old, abandoned house, cracked walls, broken windows. And standing before her, two figures emerged from the shadows. A nervous-looking young man and a woman with sharp, cold eyes. "Trevor and Rosemary, where am I?" Elara asked, her voice shaking. "Why did you bring me here?" Rose stepped closer, her presence radiating danger. "Sit quietly," she commanded. "You're not allowed to ask questions." Elara's fear turned to defiance. "What did I do?" "Why me?" Rose didn't answer her. Instead, she turned to Trevor. "Make sure the message reaches him," she said, her voice low. "He needs to know." "The girl's with us. Who are you talking about?" Elara cried out. The answer was a sharp, stinging slap across her face. "I don't want to hurt you," Rose said, her voice deceptively calm. "So don't make me." Beside her, Trevor looked terrified, his hands shaking. "Are you sure he'll forgive us?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. Rose swallowed hard. "Elijah is a noble man. If we give him what he wants, he might spare us." Trevor's next words were even quieter. "He's been searching for her for years." Elara froze. "Elijah? Who is Elijah?" But they ignored her. Trevor rushed out of the room and returned in what felt like a blink of an eye, holding a bottle of water. He had moved unnaturally fast. So fast, Elara thought she must have imagined it. She rubbed her eyes. "What? How did you do that?" A small, almost sad smile touched Rose's lips. "Girl, you have no idea where you are, do you?" She leaned in closer. You're surrounded by vampires and werewolves. Elara let out a nervous, disbelieving laugh. Are you serious? This isn't funny. Trevor stepped forward, his expression grave. They're not legends, he said. They're real. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. Elara's breathing quickened as the terrifying, impossible truth began to sink in. Miles away, the hunt was on. Rowan was a blur on his bike, speeding down empty roads, the wind roaring past him as he frantically called one contact after another, desperate for a lead. At the same time, Lucian was tearing through the city in his car, his hands clenched on the steering wheel, his eyes sharp and focused. He was making calls, tracking signals, refusing to stop, refusing to give up. Back in the abandoned house, Elara saw a flicker of opportunity. She twisted and pulled against the ropes, her wrists raw. For a second, she was almost free. But in an instant, Rose was on her, pinning her down with effortless, impossible strength. Elara gasped for air, the last of her hope draining away. What is happening to my life? She whispered to herself. As she struggled, Trevor pulled out his phone, his hands trembling as he dialed a number. The call connected, and a deep, calm voice answered from the other end. A voice that was cold, powerful, and utterly terrifying. If you think you can play games with me? The voice, Elijah's voice, began. You know who I am. You know what I am. Trevor swallowed, his fear palpable. No one, no human or otherwise, in their right mind would ever dare double-cross you. The line went dead. Trevor slowly lowered the phone, looking paler than ever. Rose looked over at Elara, her eyes filled with a grim certainty. It's begun, she whispered. The final image is of Elara, alone and bound in the suffocating darkness, tears streaming down her face. A prisoner in a world she never knew existed. And out in the world, two boys, a werewolf and a vampire, race against time. Lucian speeds through the city's concrete maze, while Rowan rides deep into the shadows of the forest. Both are moving toward danger, toward an unbelievable truth, and toward her. Some secrets were never meant to be found, and some names, like Elijah, were never meant to be spoken. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the next episode.